Hey everybody, welcome. Hope Zvara here. We're going to do about a half an hour of some yoga. Feel free to drop questions in the comment section if you have any, and this video will be uploaded to our online studio. All right, let's get started. Let's do in the center of the mat. Step your feet just a little bit wider than outer hips width, toes forward, knees softly bent, hands to the hips. We're going to work with hip hula. So hips move over to the left. I'm going to really try to bend out that right knee a little bit and exaggerate the rotation. Glutes engage, pelvis comes forward, hips press to the right and then back. So we're just trying to find where it is, that area of tightness. So for me, it's kind of that front outer edge of the hip. And then reverse it and go the opposite way. And so I'm exaggerating how much I can actually tilt my pelvis. What would look like forward is actually a posterior tilt, but we won't confuse you here. And again, just noticing where you're tight. You might think this is silly or funny, but ask someone that's 85 plus to do this, and you may be surprised that it's really difficult. So just trying to find that movement and then back to center. Soften the knees, arms to your sides. Inhale, breath comes up. And then exhale, push your breath away, bend your knees, fall forward. Roll it up, arms come up. Exhale, push your breath away, knees bend, fall forward. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Let's go 4 more. And exhale. I'm just adding a little bit of an extension, a little bit of a forward tilt in my pelvis. And exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale. This time stay down. Bend your knees as deep as you can go and come into a squat as low as you can go. Just notice how deep down you can go in your hips. And then slowly let the legs lengthen back into standing forward bend. Try to lean forward onto the balls of the feet versus staying in your heels. Relax the head. Maybe you can grab opposite elbows here and draw down through the arms. Open up through the lower back. You can bend out your knees. Nice calm nose breathing. Now bend your knees, release your arms, roll yourself up. Hips are gonna tip forward, so hips are coming forward. I'm opening up the hip flexors. Inhale, and exhale, bring your hands to prayer. Awesome, let's step out the feet a little bit wider, not quite your straddle. So a good way to recognize what your straddle length is at a minimum is to actually measure with a strap from hip to heel. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. Not quite your straddle, definitely not your widest. Let's go back to that hip hula. So how well can our hips move to the left? You're going to be the most restricted from your right leg. Hips move to the left, glutes engage, knees bend, pelvis comes forward, and then I'm going to slide over as much as I can to the right. I'm feeling restriction through my left leg and hip, and then back. So paying attention to where that tightness is. So injury issue doesn't just manifest, okay? It's an accumulation over time from these little things. And let's just go 1 more and then we're gonna reverse and go the opposite way. Just nice calm breathing. Let the knees be a little soft and bend when you come forward in the pelvis. This is actually a great wake up movement to get the body going. And just noticing your body's limitations, paying attention to feeling everything your body's feeling. And then back to center. Nice job. Open the feet a little bit wider yet again. This time turn your toes out and your heels in. So I'm nice and tall. Slide down the imaginary wall, or if you're by a wall, butt yourself up against it. Use the muscles on the outsides of the legs to feel the openness through the inner hips. Inhale, arms come up overhead, interlace the fingers, press your palms up as you slide your hips down. Really press into the balls of the feet. Nice deep breath in, and nice deep breath out. Tongue off the roof of the mouth. Now if you can, try lifting your heels. Exhale, drop your heels, hands to your thighs, sink down into your hips, but try not to bend your elbows. So I'm using kind of this braced position to not fall back. Press into the left thigh, drop your shoulder in, and now look over your right shoulder. Imagine looking back. You'll come a long way. Offer yourself a little grace today. And then inhale, come to center. Right shoulder dives in. The bracing of my arm against my leg is kind of holding me up. Nice, calm breathing. Inhale, come to center. Kick your heels out, down into a standing straddle forward bend. Lean a little forward. Try not to roll into the ankles. Soften the face and jaw. Now inhale, coming up to the fingers, let's side lunge to the right. I'm going to step my stride a little bit wider. You might want to do the same. The heels should not come up off the floor. Really focusing on lengthening through that inner thigh on the straight leg. Sit back into your hips and heels, lean into the bent knee. Nice deep breath in, shoulders are broad. Nice deep breath out. Inhale, float up through center, and then same thing on the opposite side. This isn't so much about speed here this morning as it is in just kind of waking up your body, paying attention to living in your body. That's one of the benefits of yoga. And more importantly, the connection to your breathing. And then back up to center. Walk the feet in a couple paces. Grab opposite elbows, let your body hang, and lean again into the balls of the feet. Now bend your knees, roll yourself up, hug the inner thighs, functional extension. So thighs are gonna hug, hips are gonna go forward, arms come up overhead, reach, exhale, bring your hands to prayer. Nice job, step the feet together. So as you step your feet together, we're going to bring them all the way together. So your ankles touch, your heels touch, and then as you go up, more or less may or may not touch. And just tip the pelvis into neutral, so that means pubic bone, hip bones are facing me. Hands on your hips to start, stand nice and tall like you're being pulled up through a string. And as you come up onto the balls of the feet, let your heels brace against each other rather than try to pull away from each other. And let's find a focal point. Nice deep breath in. And nice deep breath out. So as you try to come up onto the balls of the feet, this is great work. You've been in shoes. Let your heels brace against each other. Legs zip up, glutes engage. You're tall. You need the wall up there for you. And then exhale, slowly lower down. This time now, spin the feet open. If you were a dancer, you'd call this first position. So this is a little bit of footwork. Remember, we kind of need our feet, and then all of a sudden we get to an age and it's like we have all these foot problems. Why? Because you haven't been using them. All right, so here we go again. Come up again. Your heels are bracing against each other. Find your focal point, legs, glutes, all engaged. You're coming straight up. This is an act of balance as much as it is footwork. And just go as high as you can. You can really feel that on my left foot more than my right. Soft jaw, gritting your teeth won't help here. Breathe. And then slowly lower down. Nice job. take your left leg and just shake it out. Let the ankle be really loose. Take your right leg, shake it out. And then step your feet back into a straddle. So now we are kind of challenging our stride. If you're not used to practicing yoga, go a little bit wider than what you're comfortable with or what you would think you would want to go. Turn the left toes out. We're working your image. Turn the right toes in and watch the back ankle. We're trying to keep that back ankle nice and straight. We're not rolling out into it, where we kind of slide into the joint. We want to create stability. Now your hips open towards me. It's going to make the glutes have to engage. Pelvis is open. Let's bend the front knee. Now I'm walking my stride even longer as I stay stacked. This is not a superhero pose. Keeping that front knee finding its ankle. Inhale, stretch the arms open, and as you engage the upper back, keep your core and front ribs down. So that core is actually involved. Now finally, we're actually going to look back. So I want you to rotate and look back over your fingertips behind you. Think about the bottom of the chin coming to the shoulder. Nice deep breath in, and nice deep breath out. Exhale, roll the chin to the chest, and then bring it up to the opposite side. So my head is totally upright. Now I'm looking the other direction, reaching with the back arm. I'm trying to bring the bottom of the chin over the top of the shoulder. Notice how difficult it is to actually rotate the head. These are all those little things that often get overlooked. Now inhale, front leg straightens, feet turn parallel. Hug the inner thighs. So my glutes are engaging, my thighs are hugging. Interlace the fingers, bend the knees. Hips come forward, knuckles pull back. So if I turn sideways, it looks like this. My knees are bending, my pelvis is coming forward. I'm stretching here. And I'm pulling my knuckles back down and away. And then slowly come back up. You should feel your core charge when you do that. Everything is core work, okay? At least in my methodology, we get our core turned on for everything. All right, so we're gonna come forward with the pelvis, back with the knuckles, and then down with the head, standing straddle forward bend. Try not to lock out the knees. Bend your knees a few times. If your hands aren't able to clasp, or they're stuck on your sacrum, grab a strap, grab a towel, grab a belt, grab a sock. Now bend your knees, pull up through your fists. Roll it up nice and tall. Nice job. Let's try the same thing on the opposite side. So right toes turn out. If you're just tuning in, we're doing more of a hatha yoga style practice this morning. Bend the front knee. I'm bringing that front knee on top of the ankle. Hips are level. I'm trying to keep my core to myself. My glutes underneath me. I'm nice and tall. And then look at your back ankle. We're not rolling into the ankle. The ankle looks nice and neutral. It's just on an angle. And then this time, arms come up in front. I want you to imagine grabbing a stick. And as you grab the stick, you're really strong. You're going to break it. But as you do that, the forearms turn up and your upper back drops down. Now slide the arms open to T without pushing your ribs forward. You should feel that upper back engaged. Turn the palms down. So remember on the opposite side, we started looking back. We're going to do that same thing. Reach forward as you look back. Breathe. Calm breathing. Now exhale, roll the chin to the chest. And then look up forward this time. Again, we're not tipping the head. Really try to turn the head. Rotate on the neck. And try to keep the face relaxed. Breathing. Exhale, lower the arms down. Rotate into a temporary runner's lunge. Let's step it back into plank. So kneeling plank is just fine. Otherwise, we're going to be on the balls of the feet. Zip the legs together and broaden the back. Now lift through the hips. facing dog. Relax the head, press up through the arms. We're gonna adjust the camera a little bit so that you can see nice and clear. This is the beauty of doing things live. All right, so we're in downward facing dog. Hips come high, relax the head down. Really press through the pointer finger and thumb. Now bend and extend your left leg up. So left leg comes up. Keep the hips square. That bottom hamstring and calf are probably screaming at you right now, but try to keep the weight even on the shoulders as much as you can. Now opening the hip, you're not going to change the weight on the shoulders. Lift, lift, lift. The bottom leg is not going to spin. Lift as high as you can. Now sit as deep as you can into the bottom heel. And now try to bend that knee even. Keep breathing. Shoulders stay square. Square the hip down. And then drop that leg. Breathe. Knees to the mat. You're in tabletop now. Take the leg that you were just working and slide it back. So that's your left leg. Reach through the heel, hip is squared down, belly is strong, nice broad back. Now lift that leg up without sinking in the belly. So my core has to support me if I want to bring my leg up. No sliding in the shoulders. Take your opposite hand and tuck it back onto the sacrum. So I'm taking my opposite hand, I'm bringing it back, rolling the shoulder open. Now bend the back leg and try to keep the knee at hip level. Tuck it in super tight and grab for the inside of the ankle. Push your ankle into your hand and roll your shoulder back and open. Try to stay as level as you can and as balanced as you can. Slowly set it back down. Slowly come back to the table. Sit back onto your heels, arms reach forward. Just take 2 really good breaths here. Inhale, rise up. And now we're going to do the same series on the opposite side. Curl the toes under. Hands are nice and broad. Downward facing dog. Shake out the head. And just remember, in down dog, the objective is not to lock everything out and to be straight. Because if my legs are straight, but my back is rounded, you're kind of defeating the purpose of down dog. There are hundreds of ways to stretch the hamstrings. Down dog doesn't have to be the only one. So give a little bend to the knees and maximize your shoulder and torso length first. Belly draws in. Sink down into your heels even with bent knees. I actually get a better calf stretch. You have 2 muscles in that lower leg. Bending your knees changes which you're stretching. All right, bend and extend. Opposite leg comes up. We're going to start square. Shoulders stay square. The key here is you're not opening in your shoulders. Okay, it's just the hip. So as I bring my leg up and I'm choosing to open the hip, the leg goes higher and higher and higher. I have to keep the weight even in the shoulder. Now I'm going to try to sink into my bottom heel even more and bend the knee. Now you have this really great calf line stretch. Breathe. All right, square it down nice and slow before you drop. Reset the hips. Drop your foot, drop your knees. Tabletop. Fingertips nice and wide, broad back, fold the elbows forward, belly is strong. Let's extend the opposite leg back. Lift the leg up, hip the height. So my core is strong, my core needs help there. We're not sinking like this. Bend the back knee. Tuck the opposite arm. I'm rolling that shoulder open. Now I can stay here. Nothing wrong with mimicking the pose. I'm pushing away from the floor with my base arm. That base arm is an important job. I'm going to find the ankle or loop the strap. Maybe this is all we're gonna do. If the knee drops down, gripping is not a good option for you. You're losing the stretch. Push back with your ankle, which is gonna pull the chest open. Keep the knee high, let the shoulder roll open. We're trying to stay level and balanced like a boat. Where do you need a little balance in your life right now? Breathe. I know we may have not been moving fast today, but I'm sweating. All right, slowly come out. I'm all about control. Control, control, control it. Take your knees super wide. Exaggerate how wide your knees can go. Toes come towards each other. Sit back towards the heels. Now use your hands against your mat. So push against your mat and wiggle your hips back just a little bit more. Now slide your arms forward just a little bit more as you sink into your underarm and your chin comes to the mat. Breathe. Inhale, rise back up. Curl the toes under. Knees come together. Lift up and back into a low heel squat. So I'm not sitting on the heels as much as I'm sinking back into the heels. Just get a nice calf stretch here. Anywhere we can get those in is always a good thing. Now from this low heel squat, come forward into a plank. Fold to the elbows forward. Tip your front hip bones into your back without rounding your shoulders. So fold to the elbows forward. Nice, strong body, super long from heels to crown. Drop your right knee. So it's right wrist, right knee, right toes, left arch. I'm turning my bottom arm externally towards the pinky finger as I roll myself open. And now really try to kind of tuck the tail, get your glutes to engage so that front outer hip turns on and stretches open. Top arm comes up. Now I can take my top leg up off the floor, keeping the foot flexed. You should feel that outer hip engage. If you don't, your toes might be turned up. Breathe. Really think about what balance is. And then exhale, don't drop the foot, but drop the hand. Readjust, curl the toes under, back into that down dog split with one leg lifted with a square. Bring the leg up as high as you can. Sit into your heel, look for that calf stretch. I'm bending my knee. Exhale, foot down, knees down. All right, so now we're gonna go the opposite way. I'm gonna turn away from you, okay? So now we're in table. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. Step back into plank. Hold it. Don't saggy pelvis. Feel free, knees are always an option. And now left knee, left wrist, left toes, right arch. I'm gonna turn open. Think about tipping your pelvis under so I get that hip stretch. Roll the chest and shoulders open. Push through the bottom thumb and pointer finger. Top arm comes up. Now I can stay here or flex the top foot. When you lift, the leg should stay in line with your body, not forward or back. You should feel that outer hip. Open the chest and breathe. Now find a focal point. If your balance is really good, try closing your eyes. Otherwise, stay with that mindset of what does balance mean to me? Exhale, lower the arm down, but don't lower the leg. Readjust your upper body. Remember, that bottom leg does not have to be locked out, but the hips are going to be square. You might even get some pulling by the tailbone, which is good. Those ligaments are probably a little too tight. Exhale, lower the foot down, knees come down, sit back onto your heels, and now bring the arms out in front of you. So I'm actually gonna turn towards you. So arms out in front of you, one arm stacks on top of the other. Turn your palms down and interlace your fingers. So I have my arms gripped, pull up and through, and see if you can stay nice and tall with your shoulders, and maybe start to extend out through the wrists as far as you can. Ooh, that's a wrist stretch. And then back up and through. If you missed that, I'll come a little bit closer. So we're gonna start like this. This time opposite wrist on top. We're gonna turn and try to lace. This might be as far as you can get. This might be as far as you can get. Maybe this far. Try to drop your shoulders. Maybe you can start to turn out. The idea is that we have to start utilizing these really important parts of our body. And I think we do that a lot in life. We overlook the really important things until it's critical. And make sure your yoga practice doesn't ever get into a critical state. And then slowly release. Shake out the wrists, the thumbs, the hands until they feel good again. And then from that kneeling state, come down to seated. Hands underneath the knees. Round out the back, spread through the shoulders, chin to chest. Breathe. Just a nice stretch. Let the knees come in. Back body broadens. Rock the sacrum. Just make sure any little things that may have not slid back into place are now finding their place. Keeping the left knee in, slide the right leg out, and try to anchor it to the floor and reach long as you pull the opposite knee in. Clasp behind the hamstring and extend the leg up as high as you can. Flex the foot as high as you can. Slide your hands up as far as you can. No bending the knee, but just create a little bit of resistance. On a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is insanely strong, pulling hard, you want to be at like a 2. Just a little resistance, which sometimes is hard to do. And then let that leg go. Opposite knee pulls in, but more importantly, we're reaching through the opposite heel. Drop the shoulders, try to stay broad in the chest. Tongue off the roof of the mouth. Again, check in, are you breathing? And then switch that grip behind the hamstring, flex the foot, bring the leg up, and I'm just going to create a small level of resistance. Again, more does not always equal better. I think we're learning that in today's world. Nice, calm breath. Is this a sensation that I can sit with, that I can breathe with, that I can pay attention to? That I don't react, I respond. And then slowly let that leg drop down. Arms reach overhead, interlace the fingers, push the palms away, try to touch your pinkies to the floor as you arc your back. Hold that stretch. Deep breath. And then arms come back down. Take your feet as wide as your yoga mat. Broaden out your shoulders, palms face up. And as we rest here for a few minutes, I want you to think about the idea of reacting versus responding to life. To the current situation that we're in, your family, your job, your friends, whatever it is, your emotions. And what does it mean to react versus respond? slowly start to move your fingers and toes again. Internally, externally rotate your arms and legs. And then knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Rock on the sacrum. Appreciate the little things. Our bodies often respond best to those little things, at least in the morning. We appreciate it. And then roll to your side and come up to a seated position. I'll come a little bit closer for y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I really hope you'd enjoyed it. This will be in our online studio. My hair's a little crazy. But I want you to think about this idea of reacting versus responding today. And I think in this time that we're all facing, many of us are reacting. I'm not going to say we aren't, but it seems like many of us are reacting. We hear something, we see something, we think something, and we react. And when we react to life, to situations, to people, we're often not thinking. We're often not in the moment and being able to step back and go, okay, let's actually see what's going on. What am I actually feeling? What are these emotions really about? When we respond, that's why an EMS is called a first responder. That's why somebody that comes to a scene that someone needs help, they're called a first responder, not a first reactor. Because everybody else in the crowd is reacting. The person that thinks about what needs to be done next is the responder. The person that has a plan is a responder. The person that is able to step back and kind of step out of the hyper emotional state is the responder. So I want to encourage you to think about what it is and how it is that you're acting in your life currently. This is not a judgment. This is simply an opportunity for you to become more aware. Because when we respond versus react, life changes. Our circumstances change. How we receive what's currently going on changes. And we become more valuable to other people. Not that we're trying to sell ourselves in any way, shape, or form, but what I mean by that is we actually can help others. So do you want to be the bystander, watching the scene, reacting, or do you want to be able to be a responder and make an impact, make a difference, even if it's just in your own immediate family? So thank you so much for practicing with me today. Please let others know that videos and yoga sessions and little inspirational doses of hope are available to them just like this. And until next time, I hope to see you soon. Namaste.